I'll go ahead and call to order the Paulding County Airport Authority meeting for December 2018. We welcome everyone. Hope everybody's having a good week. Merry Christmas. We don't see you before. Terry, will you mind giving the invocation?
I will. God, we thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to be gathered and to conduct the business of this county. We just pray that your will be done and that we'll be found doing that's right in accordance with your will and your ways. For it's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from October 17th, 2018. Give it on, and I did find an error on there. When we came back to regular session, there was a motion to re-enter regular session and a second and a vote. That's been omitted, so we need to put that back on there. I hear a motion with the correction for the meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Not all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the financial statements. Everyone had a chance to look at those? I'll entertain a motion for the approval of financial statements.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the special use permit for the FAA Aviation Summer Camp.
Okay, we've got Ricky here from the FAA. He's going to come up and tell us a little bit about what we're doing. Before he speaks, I dare any of us to disapprove something the FAA wants to do at our airport. So, Ricky, we're glad to have you with us. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the group and give us a short description of what it is you want to do.
And last time someone said give us a short, it said 20 minutes. I ended up an hour and 20 minutes. So I'll definitely try to keep this short. My name is Rick Flores. Just so I'll let you know that I am a Paulding County resident. I've been living here since 1996. When I joined the last tour of duty with the Navy, so I retired out of the Navy. I've been working aviation for, 30, 40 years, somewhere around there, military and civil service. I've been with the FAA for 7 years now, and I work at the Flight Standards District Office, which is the regulatory authority for general aviation in the state of Georgia. So we cover the entire state of Georgia for general aviation. One thing I want to quickly talk about is it's an old new program. The FAA has a program called the STEM AVSET program. It's an aviation-related program to keep young students focused on possibly having a career in aviation. What we're looking at is implementing a strong program within our office with Flight Standards as a sponsor, dedicating inspectors to help teach and train students to look, saying, hey, some of these students that don't have a clue what they want to do when they get out of high school. Well, we want to see about aviation maintenance or pilot training as a possibility. There's a dire need right now in the future. The understanding with the FAA is that in the years to come, baby boomers are going to be retiring. So commercial, the Deltas, the American Airlines, general aviation, they're saying, what are we going to do? Actually, there's a contest going on within the FAA to come up with ideas about promoting aviation as a career for students. So what we're looking at is, the first thing I thought of is Paulding County. And I've been to that airport quite a few times. I've actually done a few incidents, aircraft incidents, investigations there. And I feel that the airport gets underutilized. And when I read the article about Governor Deal signing an agreement or saying that, hey, we want to build an aviation academy, that immediately piqued my ears. And I contacted Terry a little while ago. I said, look, we've got a program called the Aviation Career Education program in the United States, where we, throughout the United States, where we set up aviation summer camps. And it's a week-long camp, Monday through Friday, where we bring different operators, repair stations, airline pilots, experimental aircraft builders, everything related, even military, anything related to aviation, to get the kids thinking about it. The program covers multiple age groups. Right now, what we're looking at is really getting the high school kids to start thinking about it. So I set up a meeting, we talked with Terry, said, look, we got a golden opportunity to really promote the airport. And I think Terry got excited about really thinking about the Paulding County Airport being an educational site for career enhancement within the aviation community. I will be actually spearheading that. All I needed was the facilities and the time I've been allocated. We can't, as the FAA, we can't solicit for any funds because the only thing they're going to give us is my time. So a lot of the things that we're looking at is that the curriculum of the actual camp will be set up by myself and some of the inspectors in the office. It'll be coordinated with Terry and our group that we talked with on last week, and getting a hands-on approach. It's not something I want to set up that students come in, they go, oh, no more lectures or anything else. I want more hands-on. The state of Georgia, if you're not aware of, has multiple assets within the state that talks about not only aviation's career, but the history of aviation. Commemorative Air Force unit out of Newnan, Georgia, they have old World War II planes that they fly into air shows and stuff like that, show that things up. I want to get them. The Army Foundation has helicopters they fly around to do presentations. And there's different things that can be done to excite the students, not just sit there and hear lectures. I want to do a hands-on approach, from basically how to do tools, how to use tools. And it's a mentorship. This is not a program that we're only going to look at doing a one-week summer session. It's something that once we get the kids dedicated, they're going to be looking at a year-long program where during off times, like there's spring breaks, winter breaks, that we set up job shadowing days where we take students to some of the local facilities that will do maintenance, and they shadow a technician and different things, and just watch how they do. And again, keep them interested throughout the year, not just that one summer session. Bringing materials in to teach these kids and keep them motivated is something that we really look at. Someone want to go to the military. I believe I'm a Navy man, and I fully support that. But what I want to look at is that when you go in the military, what do you want to do that you can use when you get out of the military? Some kids go in there, they just go in there and they do whatever they tell them to do. Well, let's look at a career. And to me, aviation has been a career that I've been carried on for a long time. I think with the students thinking about that, having someone to talk to, having mentorship, having training, having access to things on a yearly basis is something that will keep them focused on a reality of a career once they graduate. One of the requirements is that we're looking at, your school grades are a priority. If you're not passing and you're not doing really good in school, and things that we look at is something that we're going to entertain. So look, that's your priority. This aviation program is second priority for you, so something to think about. So what we're looking at is getting involved with the Paulding School District. They will select the students. What was the young lady's name?
Miss Perry.
Miss Perry. She will be involved with getting with the high school students because she's part of the career initiative that they have here in Paulding County. And then we'll coordinate that. And we're looking at 50 kids right now. I really anticipate that that's going to be a problem because I'm sure we're going to get a lot more wanting to request that. But this is a first-time program, first time starting it, so we're kind of working from scratch, and we'll learn as we go. But I think some of the things we're looking at is really be a great program for the Paulding County community.
So a couple of things to add before y'all ask questions. Ms. Perry did join us at the meeting that we had with the FAA to discuss the possibilities of this. And you know that she is spearheading the Career Academy. Stacy is on the steering group for that. We also have Chattahoochee Tech, who's looking to bring the A&P school there to the Paulding County Airport. And my goal would be to make this an educational hub for aviation for the future. And if we can get the high schools, the FAA, remember we already have the STEM event. We had 400 students, and most of the local aviation businesses and the military and the first responders all at the airfield back in the early fall. Tie all of this together, get Chattahoochee Tech involved. I mean, it makes all the sense in the world. We've got the facilities there to do it. And I highly encourage you to get behind this and not only vote for it, but support it when we get ready to do the camp in the summer.
I agree with you. I think no greater thing we can do than to help with our young people's future.
I have a couple of questions, if that's okay.
Yes.
Who's going to be the overall head of this? So, you know, if we got students in the program, is it Paulding County Schools that are going to be responsible? You know,
The student selection process is that I don't want to be involved with it as a,
no, I'm sorry.
from the Paulding
I
County.
think you're missing what I'm asking. So we got kids out there that are using tools, they're working on things, they're learning, they're doing all those things. But at the end of the day, you know, whose insurance, who's covering, who's the top of this thing that covers the whole program?
That's a very good question, 'cause that's been brought up, especially with child labor laws and everything else that's going on. The shadowing program is something that they will not touch tools when they're out there. They will only be an observation. The only time tools might be touched is when we have a camp and we have instructors and inspectors watching over them. There is forms that we have that a parent must sign to release any legality from the FAA or the district. And all the student select process will be handled by Ms. Perry.
But the camp itself is going to be organized and handled by the FAA.
Yes.
Okay, that's my question.
And I'll be the primary point of contact as of right now. I have two other inspectors that's on the.
So they're the buck stops here is where I'm.
Yes, that's right. And we have forms and everything else, and I'm going to forward to Ms. Perry, so look, they have to fill this out. They have to sign it because we know in today's state everyone's a sue everybody.
Are you targeting high school kids or how young?
Right now, we are targeting any 8th grade on up, so upper middle school to high school students. And this, again, this is just a start. We'll look at having little mini camps for the younger kids to do 1 or 2 day events. And I think with the airport and the facilities they have, it's endless of what we can do at that airport. And it really promotes the airport within the community too.
So Terry, are we at a point where we're going to grant a permit at this point, or is he putting together?
So the permit before you today is specifically for the 2-week camp in the summer.
1 week.
I'm sorry, the 1-week camp in the summer. It's the second week in June. It's the day
June
we
10th to the 14th.
settled on. And that's all that you're being asked to vote on today. But there will be more events. If this is successful, it will be something that grows in the future. But each individual event would require a special use permit to be tied to that.
And then cover up to that, one of the things, transportation will not fall under the district or the FAA. It's going to be strictly on parents to ensure that their kids get to the camps and stuff, so.
Thank you, Ricky.
I'd just like to express a word of thanks, Ricky. You know, I've been talking before, but it means a lot to have someone like you take the initiative and stay here in your own county and provide this. It's exactly, in my view, what Paulding County Airport needs. So just to express my appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you. Thank you for your time.
I'll make a motion to grant a special use permit.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Special use permit for Excel's North Georgia welding competition.
Hear that. So this is a program that's, it's not exactly out of Chattahoochee Tech, but it's using the welding program from Chattahoochee Tech as a starting point, and we'll let them explain what they're going to do. Jay?
Hey, my name is Jay Thompson. From Savannah, Georgia. Spent some time up at Reinhardt University and in Loganville, Georgia. And so that's my North Georgia experience, right? So was doing a conference down in Savannah for the welding instructors for the state. And was sharing about my organization, which Excel is a mentoring network that I'm the founder and CEO of. We're in Chatham County, Bryan County, Effingham County. We're in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we're about to start up in Palm Beach County, Florida. And so what we do is we focus on young men ages 15 to 25. Primarily, these young men have lost parental oversight. And a lot of the young men that we're caring for are through the school systems. They're flunking out of the school systems. We say all young men are dreamers. They're dreaming about, you know, what's next, what car to drive, you know, what's my career going to be, what does it look like, and they're builders. So they're dreamers and builders. and they want to build something. That's why we played with Legos and Lincoln Logs as we're growing up. They want to build a family. They want to build a community. And so that's why Excel is focused on soft skills training, preparing our young men for the workforce, and hard skills training, equipping them with trades. We're actually focused on trades, welding, mechanics, logistics, utilities, plumbers, electricians, carpentry, and we're focused on moving our young men into the trade. So we take our young men through a training process. In the soft skills, we're preparing them for the workforce, we move them into entry-level jobs, and then we partner with companies that will train them on the job with the trades. And we are partnered with the tech schools all over the state. With that being said, I was speaking to the welding instructors for the state, and Jim Thomas, your instructor here at Chattahoochee Tech, just got amped up about what we're doing. We're not kind of the typical, let's go have a golf tournament and raise money for my organization. We're doing activities that are raising money for us, that are inspiring our young men in the trades, okay? So we started the welding competition in Savannah back in October. It was our second year with the competition. We're attracting tremendous enthusiasm with the industries around Savannah, and these industries are really working statewide, even for the southeast of the country. But they're coming to be a part of it. We're actually attracting national companies like Airgas and a lot of the big Eric's, which is an industrial supply house. But a lot of companies like Macklejohn, ITS, Industrial Technical Services, and just industrial companies around the community. So when Jim said, hey look, I'm not going to bring a crew down to compete in your competition in Savannah, but I want to start one in Paulding County. He goes, I love what you're doing. I would love to even see Excel up here in Paulding County. He goes, let's do one, and so my boys can be a part of it. We're, just so you know, with the competition, we're attracting corporate teams to showcase their talent, and then we're attracting trade school teams or educational teams to show their talent, okay? It's turned into a big job fair for the young men and young ladies. And so we're excited to be able to bring that here to Paulding County. And riding around with Jim probably 2 or 3 months ago, he said, man, the airport would be a great spot for us. It's got some open parking space. We're looking at probably having about 100 to 150 people out for the competition. It's going to attract industry from Atlanta, from North Georgia, from Douglasville area. It will attract those industries to the county, which I think you'll get really excited about. Just be able to showcase that the county's excited about, expanding into these trades for their young people in the community. I think that would be exciting as well. So anyway, the competition would be for January 26th. There would be a setup period on Friday night, the 25th. It would be probably an hour of setup. Really the only thing that we would be setting up for would be probably some scaffolding in the parking area just to showcase welding bays, things of that nature, which would be a parking space, if you will. And then the day of the competition would be, I think I've got it down for, it's like 7, it's usually 7 to 3, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. So it's really just morning to afternoon, early afternoon. And then it's an easy tear down. We would be out there by 3 o'clock on Saturday. As far as that, we'll have some vendors out there. We're attracting companies. Ace Hardware called me as I was driving in from Raleigh, North Carolina last night. An Ace Hardware that's actually moving to Paulding County from Kennesaw area. They want to be a sponsor. It was just, it was that easy, okay? They're excited about opening up in Paulding County, and I think that should be an encouragement to each one of you. We've got other bigger companies, Technoweld. I don't know if you're familiar with Technoweld out of Atlanta, but they're going to be here. They want to be a big show at the competition. B&L, are you familiar with B&L here in the community? He's already getting excited. Lane Mechanicals, very excited. He's already promised sponsorship. West Engineering on the south side, he's really excited about it. So you can kind of see the energy that's building behind it. And we would love to be, at the airport with y'all on the 26th. Any questions?
Jay, you really answered my question about halfway through your remarks. It was all about young men, and then you said young men and young ladies. I've got a granddaughter that plays with Legos.
Right. Yeah. I've got a daughter that plays Legos. Yeah.
She can lay out well.
Hey, let me tell you this, seriously, women have a steady hand and they make great welders, so just so you know that. Yeah, but we would love to be up here at the airport.
I'd like to say that a couple of things. This is not directly aviation related, but aviation needs welders, just like all other industries do. It is not directly being sponsored by Chattahoochee Tech, but the welding instructor, primary welding instructor at Chattahoochee Tech, as he said, Jim, is on board with this and enthusiastic. And in some ways, I look at this as sort of a collegiate version of our STEM event that we have every year. And it ties in well with bringing industry, the job fair component, the opportunity to compete. Just to me, it is something that we should be all about trying to endorse and support as an airport.
When you say it's a competition, what type of things are constructed on site that day? How is it?
Yeah, so this is what makes us unique, okay? So, as we're promoting the competition, trade schools are jumping in, corporate teams are jumping in. We do not announce the project reveal until 2 weeks out. So we'll announce what it's going to be. Last year it was a fire pit. This year down in Savannah it was a smoker. And it has to fit within a certain build envelope, so it's not too big, but it's something you would enjoy on your back patio. And so what we'll do is we'll announce the project reveal 2 weeks out. The teams will be able to pick up their steel at a local steel company, or it can be delivered to the on-site, to the site, to the shop where they're going to be fabricating it. They have 2 weeks to plan and prefab the project, okay? No more than 1-inch tacks can be used on the project. So then they bring the project. This is the unique thing about welding. You can have the project put together with tacks. Then you bring the project to the day of the competition. You have to complete your welds on site. That's what showcases the talent with the welder. Does that make sense? And then you've only got a certain period, so everything's got to be planned out. You have to present the project at 2 p.m. on that Saturday. The judges have 30 minutes to judge the welds, the project for creativity, and then we announce the education team winner, the corporate winner, and the overall grand champion. Cash prize, people get real excited with the cash prize idea, and it's really generating really new, fresh ideas where my organization's able to take the project and we auction it off to raise money for our mentoring, okay? So that's kind of how the competition works. It's very unique. Nobody's doing anything like it. We're excited to have it as our own. We've already got a team in Warner Robins that came down to Savannah. It's a Vector team. It's a state-run team that they train former military personnel in the trades. And so this team from Vector team from Warner Robins came down to Savannah and won the whole competition. And so that was really exciting to have a team from outside of our community come in for the competition. And so we see that Paulding County will have the North Georgia competition. We've already got teams from Jasper wanting to come in. Lanier Tech wants to come in. We're probably going to open up a competition in Warner Robins with that Vector team. So we'll have a Middle Georgia. Savannah will be our South Georgia competition. And we're already going to do a competition in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Palm Beach, Florida. So that's the idea. So wherever Excel is, we'll have a competition to support us.
Will that just be set up in the parking lot of Turtleville?
That's what we're requesting, so we would love that. All right. Any other questions?
We appreciate it.
Thanks for letting
Thank you.
me share.
Thank you, Jeff.
I hear a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We need a motion to approve the 2019 Board of Directors regular meeting schedule. schedule.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? No, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have a need to go into closed session to discuss real estate and litigation. I'll entertain a motion.
Make that motion.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to go into closed session to discuss real estate and litigation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We'll be back sometime. I'll call the meeting back to order to regular session. We need a motion to re-enter regular session and report no action was taken.
Make a motion to, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Make a motion.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there any other business to bring before the Baldwin County Airport Authority?
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the airport authority attorney to send a termination notice to Silver Comet Terminal Partners LLC, effective on the 5th year commencement anniversary date, terminating the commercial lease and airport use agreement dated November 28, 2012.
A second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I think I need to abstain.
Well, stitch it. Motion carries. Any other business to bring before the Baldwin County Airport Authority? Any other questions or comments? If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a blessed
Hallelujah.